pitch, which is right here.
If you've got a great idea but need the cash to make it go, well then you better start working on your elevator pitch. What is an elevator pitch? It's the term used for the 2-minute presentation, the exact amount of time it takes to go from the lobby to the investor's office on the top floor to capture investor interest. Get it right, and they'll invite you into the boardroom. Get it wrong, and they'll call security. What makes a good elevator pitch? A good elevator pitch is made up of 2 key elements. First, you have to lay out the pain statement. What problem is it that you are trying to solve? Second, you must show the value proposition. How does your venture solve that problem? That may sound easy, but it's not. Every great elevator pitch must meet 4 key tests. First, it must be succinct. After all, this guy's only going to give you 2 minutes. Number 2, it must be easy to understand. There's no room for tech talk in an elevator pitch. Both your grandma and your grandkids have to get it. Number 3, it must be greed-inducing. After all, investors want to make money, and lots of it. Number 4, it has to be irrefutable. If your elevator pitch leaves investors with more questions than answers, well, you better go back to the drawing board.
All right, that was one. We got one more coming, so just bear with me till I get it started. It takes 2 seconds here. Okay, we got one more coming. Just bear with me, and I'll have it started here in a second for you.
It's a cold night and you're at your son's football game. After the first quarter, you realize these bleachers are so cold, my butt is numb. I have the perfect solution, the hot seat. The hot seat is a cushioned stadium seat with a heated base and back. Now, there are cushioned stadium seats available that aren't heated, and heated stadium pads that don't offer back support. The hot seat combines these 2 elements, providing a portable, cushioned, heated stadium seat with a USB port to charge your mobile device. According to WorldStadiums.com, there are over 73 million outdoor stadium seats in America alone. I'll use the internet, my personal NFL connections, and amateur booster club organizations to sell 2,000 units by year 3, resulting in $120,000 in sales. I need $19K for development, manufacturing, and marketing. Investors can expect a 3x return by year 3. Don't let frost bite your buns. Get the hot seat.
That was awesome, man. That was awesome. All right, let me go to chat. Let me clear it out for a second. Okay, get me back to talking. All right, what you just saw, believe it or not, that last one I love because it was an elevator pitch that took less than a minute. Okay, let me go to my presentation mode real quick, and we'll go ahead and get started here. Oh, invite. Okay, very, very important, and try to fix it so I can at least see the chat. Yeah, okay, cool. All right. When you talk about how to invite, I was told back in 2005, I first got into the industry with a company called Prepaid Legal, is now called Legal Shield, that he who becomes professional at inviting, that knows how to invite, will end up making the most money in the business. Now, when I say invite, I'm talking about invite to a live presentation, invite to a home meeting, invite to a hotel meeting, invite to a convention. Okay, the inviter is the person that will end up making the most money. Okay, and it's something that should be passed on to everyone who's on his team. Elevator pitch, as you saw, and the importance of that, we'll get into second. But it's something that I always like to say, your elevator pitch should be so short and direct that you could jump out of an airplane and before you pull the cord, you have your elevator pitch out. Okay? So, how to invite? Well, this is just one. Now, anything I'm going to tell you, keep this in mind. You always have to end up developing your presentation that it fits to you and that it runs smooth. So when I say run smooth, that means that you're going to have to practice in front of a mirror, spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. Okay, because this is a vital, very vital part of your business. Now, I love this one, and I sent everybody on my team a copy of several scripts that start out, what if I could show you? Okay, and as an example, I've got two here. The first one says, okay, what if I could show you a way to have your car payment paid the rest of the year, if not, and it not come out of the money you earn off the job? Would you watch a 14-minute video? Okay, and then the other one I have here is, what if I could show you a way to have your rent and car payment cover the rest of the year in 60 to 90 days, working part-time 1 to 2 hours a day? Would you attend this webinar tonight at 9 p.m.? Because the expert who has all answers will be speaking or doing the presentation. And the reason, I put it like that is very important, because number one, especially when you talk about talking to friends and family, it's always nice that you're pointing to third party, and you always talk about that expert, because believe it or not, and this includes in my family, okay, your siblings, your cousins, they're not going to believe you until they see you driving a Rolls Royce. Okay, it's a sad factor, but it's a reality. Okay, the other part is, even though you're trying to help them and they need money, they need to hear it from somebody else. Okay, why this is? 10 years in this industry, 40 years in direct marketing, I can't tell you. Okay, it's just something that's always been there, and as much as you want to help your family, it's very hard to get around. Okay. Now, cold calling approach. I'm gonna give you a good example of this. I have a friend, 2005, he got into the real estate industry. He's what you call a mortgage broker, they call it. Okay, he's kind of the go-between man between the customer, the realtor, and the bank, so to speak, the people who've got the money. They make very good money. This gentleman has been doing this ever since I know him. His morning schedule is he goes to the gym in his sweat clothes. He'll leave the gym, put on his sweats, and go get a cup of coffee at Starbucks. That's number one trip. His second trip is just before 9 o'clock, before he hits the office. Okay. The reason he's there is that he's trying to move 10 business cards, some of us call them sizzle cards, okay, from his pocket to in someone's hand. All right. So I always call him the master of the cold approach, because he's average anywhere from $125,000 to $150,000 a year just off of that technique alone. Okay, now it says here, cold approach. Use after you've established a relationship with compliments and small talk. A good example of that, and this is one I always use with ladies, because you have to be very sensitive if you're a man and you're talking to a lady to make sure that she doesn't, or you don't come across to her that you're trying to hit on her. So my approach has always been, if I see a lady that's dressed sharp, kind of look like she's a businesswoman, could be a school teacher, office personnel, She could be a CEO, I don't know, or a vice president of a company, but she's dressed sharp, and she's standing in Starbucks. Well, I know a cup of coffee costs anywhere from $3.50 to $5, probably on the average. Okay, then I'll look her up and down, and I'll find some item on her that I can make a compliment about. I don't care if it's a necklace that she has on, if it's the shoes she's wearing. It's always I'm gonna make her a nice compliment. You know, it could go something like, "Wow, excuse me, ma'am. You know, that's an awesome necklace you have on. You know, and I got an anniversary coming up. Would you mind sharing me where you got that from? Because I know my wife would love to have something like that around her neck." Starts a conversation. And then, of course, you can follow it up very simply, you know, with just what I've got here. You seem to be a pretty sharp person, so could I ask a favor? And most people, if you ask them to do you a favor, they're not going to turn you down, okay? Not, at least not out in public. And my company, which is worldwide, is expanding in this area, and we're looking for a couple of sharp people like yourself to develop into leadership positions that could have them earning anywhere from an extra $1,200 to $2,400 a month on a part-time basis. Who do you know, sharp like yourself, that might have interest? Okay, or you could say that you could refer me to. That's why I say you can change these words just to suit you. I had to make something up on the fly today, and this was the first thing that hit, and I thought it'd be appropriate for this call right here. Now, I got one more slide that I think is good. Uh-oh. There you go. I'm still learning to play with my toys, so please bear with me. This is what you saw at the beginning, and I think is something, or I know it's something, that plays a large part in your success. Okay, and it's called the elevator pitch. And in networking, you're always going to end up in a position where someone asked you what you do. Okay, normally if you're working it right, you're going to have asked them. You always want to try to, if you can, you ask them first what they're doing. Okay, I don't care if you meet somebody on a golf course or you're having cocktails at a tavern. Okay, but it's very important to have your pitch down pat, that you can get it out in I say a minute to a minute and a half. It shouldn't be much longer than that. All right, and you've got your portion of it that what I call is piquing interest, or creating a problem, and then you want to solve the problem at the same time. So a young lady here just asked at me, what do I do? Okay, so I help average people like you and me to get out of the rat race by starting an online business that can save them $3,000 to $9,000 a year in taxes and put an extra $500 to $1,500 a month in their bank account, and they only need to put in 1 to 2 hours a day. All right, so a text like that could be varied in many different ways. I'm just giving you some basics that you can work with in order to be able to develop your own pitch. But just keep in mind, when you're doing your pitch, the key thing that you want to do is that you want to be able to let a person know exactly what you're doing in less than a minute and a half. Okay? I'm going to back up just for a second. There was something that I wanted to say here, and I can't remember what it was. So let me just go here just for a second and turn back on the chat box to see if there are some questions. Okay, so from what you've heard so far, are there any questions about what I put out? I can see you in the chat box. Anyone have any questions? If you do, please type your question in the chat box. All right, can everybody hear my question? I see nobody's responding, so can everybody hear me? Yes. Okay. No questions. I know, Tobias, you always have questions. Linda, no questions. Linda, was it simple, easy to understand? Let me say this about network marketing because I think it's very important. This is a fun business. Okay. Um, it's a fun business, and a lot of people, I believe, take it too serious. The money is serious. Okay, no question, no question. Everybody's good. By the way, I did record this, so what I will do is try to get it to your upline so that you'll be able to. Hello, Betty. I see Betty snuck in there. Betty, where you from, Betty? All right, while she's typing it in the window. What I was saying, this is recorded. Okay, in fact, I can turn it off now. We don't need it anymore.